Hello, this is Mary Harris and I teach Python in these videos. Um, we talked about variables, we talked about how we can create lists, and we talked about the few methods and options that lists provide. Now I want to talk about dictionaries. So dictionaries are slightly different than lists. They are still a sequence of items, but each item in a dictionary has a pair. A pair that um, the first component of this pair is the key, um, and the second component of it, this pair, is the value. So, for example, the value can be 10, and um, the key can be just sorry, I was thinking why this is because we need to use a colon here. So that's the key, that's a value, key and value, and you can have multiple of these. So we can have K2, and we can have, let's say, 30. We can have K5, just some random names. So each of these are one item. Each of these are one item, and these spaces are fine. You don't need to worry about those. Space here would be different because your key will have a space, but spaces between these components are totally fine. So this dictionary has 3 items. Let's see. I can ask what is the length of this dictionary. Similar to the list, we can use length here, and that returns 3 because we have 3 items here. Let's create another dictionary. I believe we cannot have numbers as the key. Let's try, or maybe we can. Okay, yeah, we can. So the if that's the case, number 2 would be the key for value 20. Number 3 would be the key for value 30. Okay, that is all good. D2. So that is again a dictionary with 3 items in it. Therefore, the key itself and the value itself can have different data types. Let's create another dictionary, and in this dictionary we can use a integer key but a text for so for example, building 1 for a text or string for the value, and then we can say value 2 would be building 2, right? Because it is a string, I can use space there, right? So that's just the whole thing is one string. And item 3 would be 3. Okay, so you can have string key, integer value for both, or integer key and string value. You can also have string key and string value. That is all possible. So these are all possible. So in this case, similar to list, if we want to know what is the item in second position, so again, indexing starts from 0, so this is 0, this is 2. Can I say D3 item to, let's say, item 0, um, which would be the first item, right? And you cannot do that. So dictionaries have a different system for calling the item. You have to call the key of that item in order to get the value of that item. For example, if I say, if I call key 1, what is the value of key 1? Is building 1. What is the value of 2? Um, is building 3. And what is the value of 3? And if I say 4, it will give us an error because we do not have value item an item with the key of 4. So this is actually not a position, this is a key. We call the key, the value would be returned. So in this case, let's go with this one, D. I want to call K2. So I'm going to say D return K2, right? So 30 is returned because 30 is the value of K2 key. So that's one interesting difference of lists and dictionaries. And this is very interesting because this is like an ID for each item. So if we know the IDs of those items, we can call those values. You might say, okay, how do I know what kind of keys are available in this dictionary? So dictionaries have some interesting methods, including a method that returns all the keys for us. Keys. So we want to know what are those keys. So the keys in that dictionary are K, K2, and K5. This one itself is a list. Do you see that? So we have a list of keys. The same way, you can also get the values. I want to know what values are available. So you have those values, and there's another interesting method. So keys, values, and there's another method named items. Items will return each item as a tuple in a list. So we have a list of items, but each item itself is a tuple. Let's just see what is the items for D3. So you have 1 for building, 2 and 3, right? So you basically can get the pairs out of that and have it as a list. There are so many ways that you can use dictionaries. Dictionaries are really good because this key works as an identifier. You might say, what happens if we have 2? Because these are identifiers. What happens if we have another number 3 and we also call this building 4, for example? I actually haven't tried this for myself. It will be interesting. So let's just call D3. What is the value of key 3? So it returns the last one. Interesting. And 2 would be, yeah, so it skips basically this one. So if you don't know if they are unique or not, that's something we can test, but usually the way we build dictionaries is that the key can be unique. So we can call those as the values, as the value of each identifier. All right. There is a website that is Geeks for Geeks, and they have interesting sample codes, so you can use it for learning about all the functions and methods of lists and dictionary. So this is Python list methods. If you Google, you can get to this, and you have the sample codes for all of those. It's really interesting, easy to follow. The same thing, Python dictionary methods, and you have all the methods available for dictionaries. We talked about items, keys, and values. Um, but you can see, for example, there's update. Update is another interesting method. Let's try this. For example, I can update, um, I can say update the value of 2, use building new 2. Okay, so if I do that and say what do you have in your dictionary, so this one is updated. You see that the value of item 2 is updated. So you can update using that, or you can use also update. So what is the update? Update, you can say d1, sorry, d1 that update with something, or d1 that update a should be hello, right? So key a should be hello. That's how basically you can update instead of geeks, that would be hello. So that's one way to update, or you could use just equal sign. That would be another way to update. So there are multiple ways that you can update the items. All right, so that's good. There are some interesting sample codes here that you can try. I found it useful. Great. Good luck with dictionaries.